Hello and welcome to another episode of CUZZO-OP. My name is Isaiah and I'm joined here by my cousin Willie. And we know we took a week off, a little bit of time just to reflect on knocking out 26 consecutive episodes of CUZZO-OP, half a year. I said, let's just take a week off against Willie's judgment, you feel me? Yeah. But it's all good. We here, right? We here
once more to talk about a television show. In fact, not only is it a television show, but we are talking about a new Marvel Cinematic Universe project. The last one we discussed was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Indeed.
And now here we are with the first TV show of 2023 from Marvel, Secret Invasion. So, just for everybody to know, this is going to be an interesting episode because, you know, there was some discussion about whether or not we even wanted to do this episode.
It's like that.
Because, you know, there's some more than most. There's a lot that we want to say, or it's like, that's not a good thing. Like, this show, as Isaiah put it, was ass.
Yeah.
But he asked me, he said, yo, you really want to do this? And I said, we can't only just talk about the things we like.
That wouldn't make it authentic.
Exactly. So, like we said, we gonna be here for everything Marvel, whether or not it's great or ass.
And DC, word to gun, I promise.
But we gonna dive in right now. So, Isaiah, I want to know what your general expectations for Secret Invasion was as we entered the show.
So here's my take on this, and I think it's part of why I didn't enjoy it. I'll be honest. I'll take ownership. My expectation right now, man, espionage shows, even Disney espionage shows, anything that has to do with spies, trickery, who's really bad, who's not, the undercover mission, all of that. I feel like it's at a high level. There's a lot of high level places. And I came into this show hoping that Marvel would be able to do that. Secret Invasion is a unique story. It's one I've been waiting for. Another one I had been waiting for, it was this one and Damage Control. I've always wanted an espionage spy show with Secret Invasion doing something really different and really left on some Andor Star Wars type timing. And then I always wanted like a Damage Control like sitcom where they just cleaning up after the mess of a superhero clash. You know?
That would be fun.
So altogether, I was like, all right, I really want this to be good. And I'm not going to act like the first episode didn't make me think maybe it could be. I'm on the other end of it. And it didn't meet my expectation, bro. It just didn't.
So yeah, when it came to Secret Invasion and my expectations, you know, I didn't think that it was going to be as high as like Winter Soldier
or Loki.
But there's something about like some of these MCU movies, they come in with this little bit of like a different vibe to it. Winter Soldier was that like super spy vibe, right? And so with this show, I was like, okay, Nick Fury, a character who's taken a back burner since 2015, right?
Big facts. Big facts.
He's coming in, he's going to be stepping up with, you know, some of the cast members from Captain Marvel, which I know that movie wasn't very well received, but like Ben Mendelsohn coming in, like him, Sam Jackson coming into this, the star with each other. I was like, okay, let's see where we go. And then some of the other cast members that started getting announced, I said, oh, okay, we doing things. Olivia Colman, right? And
Amelia
Clark, right? I was like, oh, they building something here. And then so my expectations were a fun spy show that's a little bit more serious than some of the things we've gotten. And you know, I'm ready for that. And we knew that this was going to play a role in the Marvels, right? We knew that it had to because Nick has been confirmed for that for a while. And so when it dropped, that first episode, like you said, I was like, oh, okay, we're here. And then we weren't. And so I just want to start with the biggest controversy from day one of the show. It's AI-generated opening.
Yeah.
I want to know your thoughts on that.
So I was talking about this with my guys because I actually had my boys in town. Shout out Steve. Shout out Terry. They were at the crib when we watched this together, the first episode. And we talked about this. We talked about how SAG, strike, AI, what it means, because this was why people were so frustrated. From what I could tell online, it was this vibe of there are artists that do artistry. So why would you have an AI do this, right? But I was in the camp of we're talking about a show where everything is not what it seems. I think it was quite a meta creative decision for them to do it. I see it as more of a creative decision they made more than I see like artists being slighted or I see like the danger of AI taking over creativity. Like I just don't look at it like that, me personally. I look at it deep in a different way. And that's also part of my issue. That takes a certain level of like risk. A little bit of like, we gonna get different with this one. Let's try it. Let's just do that. That's how it comes off to me, not lazy. And I guess maybe that's where I set myself up too, because it probably is, in my opinion, one of the least lazy things they did in this entire show. There's a ton of lazy moments from episode 1 onward, though. You feel me? So
yeah, when it comes to that intro, for me, it was like, I get it. And I saw some people online like, well, they could have just hired people to make it look like it was fake. Like there are artists who can do that. And at one point I'm like, yes. And on the other hand, I'm like, I kind of like the idea. I just think it came at the wrong time, if that almost makes sense.
That's a great way to put it.
Like if this intro and this show had dropped 3 years ago, I don't think it would have been as high of a discussion as it is now, because of how much AI has just blown up over the last year. Yet, all that being said, just looking at that intro, it does nothing for me. Like, in fact, I skipped it after watching episode 2. I skipped it. And normally I would let intros play out. I always let intros play out on shows, like even on binges, because that's just part of it. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I don't know why. So I understand it. I get it. But it didn't do anything for me. But the controversy, I get it. It was a creative decision that I think makes sense for what the show is. Just bad timing.
I agree big time. Timing is a big deal, man. And I think that is also a big issue Marvel has right now. Let's jump in, bro. Let's jump in.
I want to immediately just dive into, before we talk about the plot, because the plot can take us to a lot of places. I want to talk about the acting and what each actor brought to their role, right? And so I'm just going to start off by saying, like, no matter what you write for him, Sam Jackson gonna do his thing. And I felt that way about this big time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even in the moments of the show where I was like, but why am I watching this right now? I was watching for him. Like, he was doing his thing.
I like him, and I like Ben.
Oh, Ben.
I like Ben.
Ben was
great. You know what's wild? Like, I like Ben as a bad guy, though.
Oh, okay.
I do. I really do.
Like the director Krennic? Yeah.
I like seeing that. I like that Rogue One. I like that vibe, bro. That's the vibe from him I very much appreciate, because it's snark. He's like a snarky, sarcastic type of guy. And I think seeing him in a protagonist role here was cool, man. But
Bro, he was wasted.
This show had to either be better in its writing or it had to be longer and give us more time with these actors and building these characters out. And I think Ben would have taken that up just like Samuel Jackson.
Absolutely. Emilia Clarke, she did well. You know, I don't think she did not do well. It's just, it's hard when what's on the paper ain't there, right?
I'm gonna hold my tongue on Emilia Clarke. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. Ooh. Because I haven't watched Game of Thrones in its entirety to be able to like state this fully, because I know a lot of people's opinion of her comes from that show alone.
True.
Right? She's done other things, but that show alone is what blew her up. But on this, I didn't think she was that great. And I don't necessarily think she's like the craziest actress of like all time. Like, I can name like 5 actresses off the top of my head that like, I appreciate them as actresses in the MCU more than I appreciate Emilia Clarke.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like she was handed a terrible plate here, because
she was.
Like, Game of Thrones, from everything I've seen her in, she was delivering there a lot more. But I liked her in Solo when she was Kira. I think she was great in that.
That's a good point. I forgot about that. That's so true.
Like, you know, I'm telling you, what was on the paper for her here, just, it wasn't it. Now, Kobe Smulders was done hella dirty as Maria Hill. We don't get into that. Just for the 5 minutes she was on screen, I think she did well.
Yo, bro, Maria Hill is a staple in Marvel, bro. When she was up in Stark Tower during the first Avengers flick, bro, not even during Age of Ultron when they brought back Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, she's iconic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. It's sad that she went out like that.
Yeah. Olivia Colman. Do you know who I'm talking about when I say Olivia Colman?
I don't know the agent's name off the top of my head because she's forgettable to me right now on the show, but
Sure.
I know who you're talking about.
I'm going to say she might be my favorite character from the damn show.
She's funny,
because
bro.
she was hilarious as hell when she was on screen, but in like such a dry way that it was like, okay, you are mad fun to watch opposite of Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. Up next, we got Don Cheadle. Now,
Yes, sir.
like I said, we're going to handle the plot talk later, but damn, do I this show, I feel like Don Cheadle, he's been that guy who pops up everywhere on these shows. This show made me really excited to just watch Don Cheadle act during Armor Wars. You know? And like, I don't think the last time I felt this way about Don Cheadle was when he was in Age of Ultron, when he was doing his little moments there. Like, I don't get this show. This show was like Age of Ultron. We got to bring some of that back into it. So, plot aside, I liked Don Cheadle when he was on screen here also. He was acting very well.
Yeah, I think Don's great, man. I mean, I know a lot of people still don't like the fact that Terrence Howard was taken off of that role of Rhodey, but it's like if you don't let this man take ownership of his role, he's been taking ownership of his role since like 2010. Like,
yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. I like Don's Rhodey more than I liked Terrence.
Word.
And then the last person I want to handle here, and it could be writing or it could be acting, it could be both. Kingsley Benadier. I don't know. I wasn't feeling him in this role.
The whole shit is ass, bro. The whole show.
Bro, I don't know. Again, on paper, right? The writing for his character, I'm like, okay, maybe. But there were some of his roles, like when he was surrounded by all his lieutenants and he was trying to act all tough, where I was just watching and I was like, that's getting ya?
Trash, bro. And I think it's like you said with Amelia, bro. I think we're already uncovering one of the major issues here. The two main representations of the negative, or on the there's a word, the scroll nationalists, is Amelia Clarke and Kingsley, and they are the two that out of everyone in the show I did not appreciate the acting of. And to me, that must mean something writing wise. It has to, bro.
Well, you know what? It could be casting. Because I look at Amelia Clarke when she's outside of her role and I don't see bad guy or things like that. Even from Game of Thrones, when she was a menacing presence, it felt a little bit different there because you could tell that the menace in her was almost like a mask that she put on, right? Because I just watched, we watched Barbie. Kingsley's in Barbie, bro, and I didn't feel that way when I was watching Barbie, bro.
I hear what you're saying, and not only that, I mean, he's in Peaky Blinders, and he kills that, and I don't know if you've seen a trailer for this Bob Marley biopic, but it's him. He's gonna be playing Bob Marley, and I love the trailer. Kind of looking fire, bro. He looking like he playing the crap out of that role. So,
this is where it comes in, bro. Like, is it the paper or is it just miscast?
I still think it's the script. I still think it's what they were given to work with, and we can talk about it, bro. We can talk about the plot. When we talk about the plot, I'll dive in.
Let's jump into the plot, bro. Because it's hard to go around the plot when talking about these things. So it's a mess. It's a mess. And my message to Disney, which we can get into later now, whenever
just
you
jump
want.
in, dude. Let's go.
What's up with y'all in these 6 episode shits?
I know.
Why have you tied yourself down to 6 episodes for these television shows? What's the deal? I don't get it.
It's called cash grab.
Like,
it's called we're lazy and we don't want our TV shows to be better than our movies. So it's called cash grab.
And you know what? This show felt like we want to do something in the Marvels too. But because we haven't set it up, we need to throw some shit out so that people can maybe find our characters where they are next time we see them.
Mm-hmm.
We want Rhodey to be somewhere specific for Armor Wars. So we got to put this out so that he's there by then. We want Nick Fury to be somewhere. Here it is. That's what this felt like.
I told my boy the other day, I said, look, bro, when you're watching and trying to catch up on anime, you can find lists where they'll point out the episodes that are important to watch and then the episodes that are called filler. This whole show is filler, top to bottom.
And it's not good filler.
I'm scared, bro. I'm scared that Marvel doesn't know what the hell it's doing. And listen, I'm from the camp where I was like, nah, just go back to the Marvel, the state of Marvel up until phase 4. That's what we did, right? Or up until phase 5. I said, we're going to be here. We're going to watch. I have hope that they're going to put it all together. I told y'all in the Guardians of the Galaxy chat, I said in that episode, yo, I think this was a great step toward what's to come. I think there's going to be good things that are coming. This show made me go, I understand why everybody thinks Marvel fell off for real. Because this really just reeked of, we don't know what we're doing. We're just going to give you this because it's been too long since we've given you something. We need something to fill the space before Loki drops and shit. This show is so bad that it'll make Loki look better. That's what it feels like, bro.
Bro, they dropped a Loki trailer like a day after this show dropped, bro.
A day after. That was dastardly, bro. That's like me getting married. That's like me getting married or having some significant event one day. And as soon as that day is done, you announce, all right, now I'm going to have my significant event. Now I'm going to have my time. It's like, yo, bro, can we let my shit breathe? Can I let it breathe? It still reeks of me in here, bro.
Well, your shit was ass.
Ooh, I like what you did there, but that's exactly it. It's like they needed to get the air freshener to Febreze out.
They needed to say, y'all, focus on this instead of that.
I'm scared that the incorrect people have the power right now and that there won't be enough of the connecting of dots. And that's what Secret Invasion felt like to me. It felt like y'all were like, we got some dots on the board. Just rock with us. We're going to connect them. They're going to go crazy. I'm like, okay, bet. At the end, when they connect all the dots, it's going to make something fire. They connected all these dots, bro. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't really know, bro. I don't know.
I don't know what dots they were connecting, dude. They was just throwing dots, bro. They was, you know what? They flipped the board.
Yeah,
that's what they did, bro.
This was craziness, bro. The Wild West out here, bro. What are you doing? Yeah. What is the point of this? And let's dive into that. Let's dive into it, right? The main crux of this tension in Secret Invasion, you could say a lot of things. You could talk about the Skrulls and the humans, and you could talk about Sword, and you could talk about Shield. You could talk about you could talk about a lot of different dynamics. But obviously here we're talking about two factions of Skrulls that fight for different reasons, and Nick Fury stands at the head of the Skrulls we want to know, the Skrulls we were left with that we saw driving a car in the end scene of Spider-Man Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of Captain Marvel, it's the good guys. It's Ben Mendelsohn. We lit. It's not lit, bro. They brought a antagonist aside for them to go against that I just didn't believe in. And I've seen that side, the radical kind of like fascist side. I've seen that side so many times done well that it's like, how dare they think this is okay to get across the cutting floor? Especially, bro, when there's only one bad guy for the first episode or two. And then, there's only one bad guy because within the second/third episode, somebody who was supposed to be a main antagonist now kind of doesn't know where she stands because her pop said, oh, this, that, and this. So Emilia Clarke goes from being this like, oh, she's bad. Oh, no, she's not bad. She's good. Okay, cool. I'm with it. Okay, so that means that it's just this dude that's the bad guy, and then you want to throw Rhodey in there, and I just felt like y'all didn't know what you wanted to do. Who's in the driver's seat of the enemy vehicle? I need to understand that. And the only thing I think that they had going for them in this show throughout the entire show is something that they were given by the way the scrolls were written in the comics, which is you never know.
Yeah. And even then, I don't know if they did that right.
I guess like
Because
when
they pulled the same shit twice in the same show.
That's very true. What are you specifically referring to? I'm assuming the Talos moment, right?
The Maria Hill and Talos moment,
Yeah.
right? You have this idea of Maria dying, right? And she drops because she was killed by Nick Fury because they didn't know that was Nick Fury. And they do that shit again with Talos, bro, where he's being saved by the soldier and then bam, he's killed because he didn't know, which is a wild moment. Point is, like, they didn't do what you just said about the you never know well to me. Because most of the time, I did know. Like, that's how I felt also. Like, Rhodey was plainly obvious. And
Right.
it's incredibly sad that they said to us that you're gonna have your mind blown. Like, no, I didn't.
No, not
at
even
all.
a little. Terrible writing.
Not at all.
Terrible, bro.
And if we want to dive deeper into how terrible that shit is, let's talk about the fact that they don't answer questions that should be answered. Now, unless I missed it, how long has Nick Fury been in that spaceship? How long has Nick Fury on the ground been a Skrull?
We don't know, bro.
They say, oh, he was different after the blip. So was it after the blip? Maybe. How long has Rhodey been a Skrull? The director of the show said that it's meant to believe, and he's been meant to believe that it's been since Civil War. That would be trash. And if you're implementing that, that weighs down both Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So that can't be the case. But the fact that you as the director don't even know is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, bro, I'm looking at his experience as a director and as a writer. This guy has written only like and directed only like 10 things. And even those, he's not carried his own series. This is like his first time carrying his own TV show. What are we doing?
For me, I'm okay giving people like that a chance. No. The reason why is because Kevin Feige has stated that he's in charge of this shit, right?
That's cute. That's cute, bro. And I love that for him, right? Except I don't love it anymore. Let me tell you why. Because since the Russo brothers have abandoned ship, a lot of the decisions that he has made regarding directors and writers have come back to shoot him in the foot. The only movies that are memorable post-Endgame are movies, for the most part, that directors have returned to do another film because they were already around before Endgame even hit. Black Panther 2 stuck around. He stuck around. Coogler stuck around. You brought back Homeboy from Ragnarok, Takai Waititi. Big fold. Homeboy was a big folding. And I just think you can't take chances on nobodies at this point in time when you're already trying to paddle to get back to where you once were or to redefine what it means to be successful in the Marvel universe.
So you with me then? Kevin fucked up.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely
That's what I'm saying. Kevin fucked up because Kevin's the leader of this ship.
I thought you were giving the director a chance because I'm here to tell you, director Ali Salim, that your ass. This shit was ass. That's what word to Joe Budden. This was a two-pack of ass.
You can say that, but I can't ignore his statements where he said, Kevin Feige came to me and said that this is what we need in our finale. Kevin Feige came to me and said, this is what we're going to do. Kevin told me not to worry about this, but that Rhodey needed to be a Skrull. Kevin Feige came to me and said this.
We don't like.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't
like. If you're gonna hire someone, if you're gonna hire someone and bring them aboard, you need to trust them with that process. But no, that's not what I'm hearing. And you know what show said that was how things are? And I know you didn't watch the show. She-Hulk. Shit on She-Hulk all you want and everything, but she was stating facts. And it's terrible how self-aware you are as a company, and then you make the same mistake almost a year later.
Yeah, man. It's hard, man. It's hard. And we talked about this back when we spoke about DC EU, and we said that the studios play a large role in corrupting the creative vision that directors and writers and even actors have and bring to their craft. And I think we even said in that episode that it almost feels like there's a change in the tide here where it's almost like the restrictions that Warner Brothers has had over DC is starting to lift with the trust they're putting into Gunn. And we might get an era of DC movies that go crazy while Marvel is in this situation they're in currently. It's almost like the production studio is not letting people get their shots off, and that makes me scared. And you know what else it makes me scared for? Loki, for real. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Secret Invasion, even though I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, hey, listen. We basically already stated that we just thought that this shit was a mess. Like, I feel like it's hard to even discuss this in a way that makes sense, right? But like, let's just blast through this, bro. Because at the end of the day, this shit is done with, right? So, introducing Nick Fury has a wife. Such a great premise that could have been explored a lot more, and his effects behind that decision and keeping that a secret and everything like that. You know, it could have added layers to the fact that he helped Clint Barton do that back in Avengers Age of Ultron and everything. Throw that shit away because they didn't do any of that, bro.
Nope.
They didn't explore any of that shit. Killing Ben off, killing my man Talos off when they did out of freaking nowhere. Throw that shit away.
For what?
Like, your dynamic duo shit that was kind of carrying the show at that point, gone. Damn. And you know what's interesting? There was one moment where I found to be incredibly interesting with that character. It might be the only time in the show where I said, ooh, you're doing something with your cinematography here or imagery here. And it's when he goes to meet Gravik in the coffee shop, and he's sitting on the left and Gravik is on the right? And you're meant to believe, like, they shoot it so that Ben has this, like, power over him when he's sitting there speaking to him. As soon as all the dudes in the coffee shop get up and they transform, the camera flips, and now he's on the left. He's being shot bigger. That was dope. Only time I felt that shit in the show, you threw it away. You threw something incredibly interesting that you could have done with Talos to just what?
That's basic, too.
To try and smack Nick Fury down into the ground, bro? Like,
that's basic, too.
Come on now.
I don't know, man. I like Talos.
Yeah, he was fun. Again, him and Nick Fury working aside each other was a good time.
Absolutely.
That didn't last as long as it maybe should have.
I agree. Yeah, I really like their conversation even in the beginning of the series when he talks about his mom. When Nick Fury talks about how he was raised. It's just like you don't get to see these parts of him as a character at all up until this point. This is supposed to be the first time we get to like really dive deep. I guess Captain Marvel a little, right? But it's obviously not called, his face isn't the first face you see on that Captain Marvel poster, right? So all that being said, man, I think they kept building good things and flushing it down the toilet over and over again.
Rhodey being a Skrull could have been an interesting plot if you bothered to do anything interesting with it, right? The setup or any of that. But no, it's so painfully clear from the start that it's just like, what are you doing, right?
It's terrible, man.
And so let's just jump into the last part, dude. Super Gaia, the strongest character in the MCU. Her fight against Gravik, bro. Like, that shit sucked.
Dude, that was so bad. And I saw the clip of her Drax arm popping out on the internet first before I watched the actual episode. Dude, I was like, they're just roasting it. Like, but at this point, man, I was already like, now I understand. This is not good. I was pissed off that episode, bro, because one thing that had me dead was like, why did Fury have his gun, like his eye patch, all of them were in separate boxes. Like, I saw a video the other day that said, yeah, like one of those boxes was big enough to hold all three of the things. And I was like, yo, that's mad true. That's like 3 minutes of airtime of him picking up his objects. But then this battle jumps off and bro, it's not him. It wasn't cute at this point. Like you said, we had already seen the switcheroo happen a couple times. So it's like, I'm already disillusioned. What's the word? I'm already desensitized.
And it's sad that the scrolls be the ones falling for that shit.
Yeah, that joint doesn't make no sense to me. You telling me you don't have any heightened awareness? You don't have any, and you could talk about that, right? People like to say, oh, well, that's the whole point of being a scroll. It's a part of their culture that they have to deal with. They utilize this weapon, but that weapon can be utilized against them. That's at the core of their weakness is their strength. None of this show did not expose or dive into any of those points at all, and you know
it doesn't. You don't feel it. It's stop with this shit. Like, just because you understand it from the comics, like, no, the show's job is to paint that picture for you. I didn't feel the gravity of this show the way I should have.
Not at all. Right from the beginning, bro, when you see Agent Ross pop up on screen, dog, it's not Ross. We know it's not Ross. We just saw Black Panther. What are we doing? What's going on?
How did they just say, yo, who's available and have him pop up? Is that what happened, bro? Because it feels like it.
That's what it felt like from the beginning. And I was like, oh, he died. Oh, it's not him dead. Actually, I'm pretty sure right when that conversation was going on, they thought they were being meta because they were talking about the concept of scroll in general. Yeah. I was like, this man.
And I'm willing to forgive it for the first time that it's happening, right?
Not when the first 5 minutes.
I'm willing to give it that just because you're setting it up to do something interesting the entire show that they did nothing with.
Yeah, maybe, but you didn't, right? Like you said, they didn't see the shot through, and I hate that, bro. And this fight, back to what we were talking about, it's just like, bro, 1, you can only switch into superpowers on one arm at a time. Okay, that's cute. 2, why do I feel
because you need to have Emilia Clarke still be the face of what's going on?
Yeah, you paid her all the big bucks. We need to get her there. So let's have the Drax arm look disproportionate on her body because it can't be the real Drax arm. It got to be her arm, but look like I hate y'all. I really do. I really do hate y'all. I do. I talk about bad CGI. You ever seen a high definition GIF of this? Somebody took a GIF of her doing that arm, and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, take that shit and throw it away.
Yo, I got a question for you, Isaiah, since you're talking about it right now. Because I don't know what you see. You know, we don't be talking about some of these things, so we got to know. I got to ask. Do you know what the budget of the show was?
Wasn't it a lot? It was more than Loki.
It's $212 million.
Yeah, I heard Loki.
That's more than Oppenheimer.
Yo, bro, it's terrible. It's terrible. And the fight is so bad.
Yeah.
The graphic fight is so bad. And him dying is and you know what it was for me? It's the cheap use of what we as viewers have given our time to. We've given our time to these heroes, and you're just flicking around on them like it's a character selection screen.
Yo, she thought she was Kevin 11, dog.
It wasn't done. Yeah, Ben 10 on some Ben Tennyson. What's going on, man? What's going on, Marvel? Should I be scared for Loki season 2? Because I'm afraid.
Is that a question for me? Because I'm going to be honest. That trailer reminded me how great Loki is. Like, watching this show and then watching that trailer, I was like, yeah. Even if I don't like a lot of the things that Loki might have in store for what the MCU is, it's still somehow incredibly put together for the budget that they've got. Because it's a lot less than this. It might be like a whole $100 million less than this shit.
They brought my boy Key in, bro.
They did, bro. They did.
I'm hyped.
Our Oscar winner, GOAT.
Come on, bro.
You know what? Fuck Secret Invasion, y'all.
I give this show a solid. I don't even ask for it. I give it a solid 3.5.
4, yeah, 4.
And you want to know why I give it a 3.5? For the 3 actors that I actually really enjoy in their other stuff, just being done slime here.
Mm-hmm.
And 0.5 just because I like the title sequence.
Maybe a 3. Maybe a 3 for me.
Well, I think that's how we should wrap up this episode. Listen, I honestly hope that Marvel can get their stuff together, that they can figure out what they're doing wrong and course correct, right? We're hyped for the Marvels. We'll see what's to come, but I'm sorry if this episode was a bit of a disappointment. We just truly were disappointed. Can't win them all. Here at CUZZO-OP, we're going to talk about the good and we're going to talk about the bad. So we thank you so much for joining us. Know every time that you tune in to an episode of CUZZO-OP, you're always going to find 2 cousins, 1 podcast, endless entertainment. Thanks.